Last night, the Chicago Bulls pulled off their biggest comeback since the 1988-89 season, and Josh Giddey is officially on a Michael Jordan-level statistical run. Chicago's playing some of the most exciting basketball that we've seen in years. We're going to break it all down, what went into it and more, and how they can keep this going, and what opponents are coming up next. We're going to get into all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Bulls had a 24-point comeback victory last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. And this was a game going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content today, y'all. And the Chicago Bulls had one of the best comebacks. No, not one of. They had the biggest comeback since the 1988-89 season. And there's a lot of things that stood out about this game, and we're going to get into them. But the first thing is that Josh Giddey is turning into a superstar right before our eyes. Not just a star, a superstar. And I don't use that lightly. When you see players that are able that have a certain kind of vibe about them, right? That are really kind of putting the game in totality together. What you're seeing from Josh Giddey this season is him recognizing things and doing things that he hasn't done before, understanding how to use his size, taking players off the dribble even though he doesn't have the quickest first step. And last night, Josh Giddey not only put the team on his back and was the only Bulls player with energy after the 18-point lead that the 76ers got out to in that first quarter of that game. He stayed consistent. He got other players involved. He scored at all three levels. He also defended really well. It was so bad at times that the Philadelphia 76ers tried 5 different defenders on Josh Giddey over like a 4-minute stretch to be able to even try to slow him down. And they didn't even do that. We're seeing a Josh Giddey that is refining his game at such a level. And, for people that were questioning, rightfully so, I want to add, if his 3-point shooting was going to be able to maintain, Josh Giddey has been one of the most consistent shooters on this Bulls team and in the NBA this season so far. He's shooting 42% from three at 41.9%, and he's taking 4.5 3-pointers per game, the most of his NBA career. The narratives around Josh Giddey, the narratives for doubt around Josh Giddey are starting to get less and less. And Josh Giddey is one of the most complete players in the game of basketball right now with the way that he's playing. And you just can't take that away from him. He's playing at an amazing level right now, and it's just crazy to see. And, for everybody that keeps asking the question on when he's going to slow down, if you go back to the 25-game stretch we had to end the season till now, you've seen such a consistent run from Josh Giddey that it's almost ridiculous, and you almost just can't deny who Josh Giddey is as a player at this point in time. He is averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, 9.1 assists, basically a steal per game as well on 50% shooting, only 0.4% away from being 50% shooter and a 42% three-point shooter. My friends, that just isn't good numbers. That's not just great numbers. That's MVP level. If Josh Giddey had those numbers for an entire season on a team that won 45 or more games, they're absolutely getting MVP votes. Period. And the narrative around the Josh Giddey trade and all that, I'm glad to see that a lot of Bulls content creators, a lot of Bulls pundits are starting to realize, hey, maybe I was a little too harsh on the return we got back for Alex Caruso, because again, to get a player like this at Josh Giddey at young as the Bulls got him, and the fact that he hadn't just been able to play his natural position for most of his time in the NBA, you are now seeing a player that is putting it all together almost all at one time. Josh Giddey stuffed the stat sheet. put in that triple-double, which is really big in that point in time. Shooting the ball efficiently as well, 10 of 19 overall from the field. This is something that Josh Giddey it hasn't been done since Michael Jordan did it, right? Giddey became the first Bulls player since Michael Jordan in the 88-89 season to put up at least 2 consecutive triple-doubles. Now, Jordan in that run, he put up some crazy numbers, but Josh Giddey is making that leap that we said somebody has to make on this team, right? And and I'll give it to people. It's one of those things that isn't easily quantifiable coming into a season on. There's no statistic that tells you a player is about to make a leap. You can look at where they're getting strong at and how they're increasing, but this type of leap that Josh Giddey's made, and for my Josh Giddey stands are like, well, Josh Giddey did this in his second year, and okay, stop standing. He did not do it, not to this level, not to this consistency, and not to having the whole entire team on his back. Trying to say that Josh Giddey did this before in his second year is actually taking away from how special Josh Giddey has been this season because of how much has been on him, and that's just what I got to say about this. Josh Giddey is making that leap that people have wanted to see from this Bulls team for so long. And it just, listen, and again, that's not to say that Modest hasn't grown as a player. Now, in this game, Modest had a bit of a rough go. Kelly Oubre Jr. was giving him the business throughout most of this game. But Modest Buzelis stepped up when we needed it. And like I was saying before the season started, is that, Modest is, a lot of players don't make that leap in year 2. It usually comes in year 3 or year 4, usually around 23-ish years old if you're looking at age-wise. For players that came in younger, that's usually around the time that they see it, and that's fine. Modest Buzelis is still developing as a player and developing pretty well, even with last night not being his best game. But Josh Giddey is making that step up that we've seen, and the confidence that Josh Giddey is playing with. Last season, so often, I called Josh Giddey a confidence player. That's what I called Josh Giddey. I said that he was a confidence player, meaning that as his confidence grows, you just don't know what you're going to get from Josh Giddey. Meaning, he wasn't considered a great three-point shooter, but there's absolutely times where when he's playing with confidence, Josh Giddey goes unconscious from 3. You're seeing now Josh Giddey not have to rely on confidence per se because he just understands, hey, I'm this guy. I can do this. I can get this guy off the dribble. I have a better first step. I'm stronger than this other guy. And that's been one of the special things about this Bulls start is that he is playing so well right now that anybody who still wants to hate on Josh Giddey, they're just going to be behind the 8 ball. And you just got to let stupid people be stupid people is what I got to say to that because Josh Giddey is playing so well. And when you look at how he's doing it also, like he's doing it from all areas of the court. He's scoring in the restricted area 36% of his time. In the paint, 27% of his time. So even if you combine those two, that's almost 60% of his offense is coming from the paint and the restricted area, which is really good. He's also from above the break threes and corner threes. That's 26% of his offense is coming from there as well, with 9% coming in mid-range. Josh Giddey is doing it in all areas, all different types. He's shooting 38% of his shots are jump shots. He's hitting that at a 37% field goal percentage. Not the best, but he's growing as a jump shooter. Layups, 30% of his offense is coming from layups, and he's hitting that at a 70% clip. The floater, that's still 26% of his offense, and he's hitting that at a 41% clip and a hook shot. 4% of his offense is a hook shot, but he's hitting that at a 60% clip. And so, he's just getting it done from all areas of the court, and it's ridiculous to see, really. On top of the over 20 points per game that Josh Giddey's scoring, he's creating 22.9 points off assist per game. Off assist per game. That is ridiculous when Josh Giddey is responsible for 42 points a game that he's creating. And once again, we're seeing Josh Giddey, his most assisted player being Nikola Vucevic. Most of his assists are going to Nikola Vucevic. And that's just something that, again, you're getting your big man involved. He's directly getting that big man involved. The other biggest portion of his assists are actually going to Kevin Huerter, who's coming off the bench. And then the third highest between Jalen Smith and Modest Buzelis. So, what Josh Giddey is doing, he's impacting the game completely. And you just cannot take away from what Josh Giddey is turning into as a player. And I got to give Josh Giddey much love. But even with the way that Josh Giddey played last night, I want to be clear in this. It's not just Josh Giddey that's getting this done. The Bulls outworked the 76ers yesterday. Outside of the first quarter was terrible for the Bulls. It was one of the worst first quarters of basketball that you were going to see from any team. The Bulls didn't have the energy. They didn't have the execution. They didn't have any of that. And that just, that's just the reality of it. In the first quarter of this game, the Bulls got outscored 45-27. They also got out-rebounded by 4 in that first quarter. And basically, you look at every hustle stat, they got outworked in. But the Bulls turned it around. And they did it slowly. They did it by chipping away and working as a team. But overall, if you take away that first quarter, the Bulls won every other quarter basically, either through effort or through outright points per game on the game, the entirety of the game. This is how much the Bulls outworked the 76ers. The Bulls had more bench points at 31 over the 76ers. They had more points in the paint at 58 points in the paint over the 76ers. They had more second chance points. They had more fast break points. They out-rebounded them, and they scored more points off turnovers. The Bulls are a workhorse team, and once again, this Chicago Bulls team is showing, hey, you cannot count out the Chicago Bulls, and that's something special to behold, right? In the fourth quarter of this game, the Chicago Bulls held the 76ers to 18% shooting as a team. You don't do that without your total team effort. And the way that the Bulls team almost looked like they had the 76ers shook in the fourth quarter of this game. Like VJ Edgecombe, 1 of 2. Kelly Oubre Jr., 1 of 3. Tyrese Maxey, 2 of 8. Joel Embiid, 0 of 5. Quentin Grimes, 0 of 3. Like, we completely snuffed them out in the fourth quarter of this game, the most important quarter in this game. The Bulls completely just killed them in. And it was crazy to see when you look at the run that the Bulls were able to go on in the fourth quarter of this game. You got to give them credit. You got to give them credit for the way they did it. The Bulls defense stepped up when they needed it the most, and that has been a continued storyline for this Bulls team over the course of the season. We have stepped up as a team when we needed it, and you just gotta understand that this team is going to be one of those teams that feels like one of those baby Bull era teams again, that you just cannot stop them. They are coming at you with a barrage, and like a badger is what they're coming at you with. And what are you going to do to stop it? Right? You can either shoot, you can hold on, you can do those type of things. But when this Bulls team locks in on you, offensively gets in that rhythm, defensively gets in that rhythm, so far they're damn near unstoppable, right? And so, also the last thing that we got to talk about, put some respect on Nikola Vucevic's name. People have asked, why is Vuce still on this team? People have complained that Nikola Vucevic is still on this team. People have said that the Chicago Bulls weren't serious just because Nikola Vucevic is on this team. You got to understand that despite what's going on with Nikola and the team, Nikola Vucevic has always found a way to be consistent on this team. He's been one of the most consistent Bulls basically his whole entire tenure here. And now, last night we saw a Vuce, and overall so far this season, we've seen a Vuce that's also stepped up defensively when the Chicago Bulls have needed it the most. And we haven't even been able to say that over his run. Vuce is averaging 19 points, 12 rebounds on 58% shooting from the field. Do you know how elite that is? He's also shooting 48% from three-pointers, taking 4.5 per game right now. Vuce is in his bag, and part of that is that chemistry with Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey is creating for him at a level that we just haven't seen consistently. You guys remember how often the Bulls could not make entry passes over the last few years? We're now doing that consistently with Nikola Vucevic. So, overall, this team is just, and I haven't even mentioned Kevin Huerter and the way that he gives, like Kevin Huerter isn't even shooting the best, from the field or anything like that. But when Kevin Huerter's on the basketball court, you feel his presence. Kevin Huerter does stuff out there to where when you're watching the basketball game, you're like, hey, Kevin Huerter made an impact on this game. It may not always show in the stat sheet the way that you want it to, and his shooting splits aren't great. He's shooting 31% from the field right now. I mean, from the three-point line, but 49% from the field. But listen, he's chipping in 4 rebounds, almost 3 assists. Kevin Huerter is averaging a block per game and a steal per game as well. Kevin Huerter is having off the bench that big impact, and that still goes back to what we've been talking about. When this team is fully healthy, that bench unit is going to be deep. And so you take all that to say this: the Bulls are fun to watch again. Not only are the Bulls playing a brand of offense that is fun, I get it. Defense wins championships. Make no mistake about that. That adage is true. And when you look at it, teams that usually win titles are able to kick it into a different gear defensively. But offense puts butts in seats. Offense is what gets you excited. Offense is what gets people around the NBA casually to turn into your team. And the Bulls right now are playing more fluid offense than what we've seen in any period under the Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan era. And they're doing it because of their best player right now being a point guard. That's where they're doing it at, right? This team is moving without the ball consistently. Billy Donovan is absolutely coaching his ass off, right? This team is getting shots. They're moving quicker. They're moving without the ball. And they look like a much more active and engaged offense. And the way that this team is transitioning defense into offense has been so consistent this season that you got to look at it and say that this is one of the most exciting Bulls teams that we've had and seen in quite a long time, right? As of right now, the Chicago Bulls are the fourth most efficient offense in the NBA. In the NBA, when you look at the 2021-22 season, the team was barely in the top half of the league in offensive efficiency. You remember that season where the Bulls went on the 9-game winning streak, and I told you guys, hey, yes, this is fun, but if they keep playing this way, it's not sustainable. And that was because of the lack of efficiency. The Bulls then were relying so much on DeMar DeRozan's isolation and him hitting crazy shots that it wasn't sustainable. The way that this team is playing basketball right now, it's not only sustainable, but it's also efficient. That it's just in a way that it's going to make defenses difficult to play. Like, teams are going to adjust to the Bulls. But when you have the team that's playing in this manner, it's so hard to adjust to them because of them playing as unselfishly as what they have, right? And you also look at defense, right? The Bulls still are one of the better defensive teams in the NBA as well. And that's something that's adding to this. The Bulls right now are 8th in defensive rating at 113.5. And this is a team that's still, giving up points in the paint. And that's still the thing which you're coming down to with. But the fact that the Bulls are 7th in net rating, 7th in net rating, and are right now playing on the pace of a 60-win team, I'm not expecting that to stay up. I'm not expecting, we'll see what happens. I don't know if this is going to be a 50-win team or not. I don't know that. But I tell you what, the Bulls are playing at a way to where they're playing, when you look at teams that are usually successful as teams throughout a whole season, the Bulls are doing those things, and they're doing them consistently. And that's what really stands out about this run for the Chicago Bulls team, is that they are doing the things that usually equate to winning and success, right? The Bulls are the number 1 team in the East to start the season. They've done that with no Coby White, no Zach Collins at all yet. Those two players have not even taken the court yet for the Chicago Bulls. Ayo Dosunmu has missed 2 straight games, one that we won, one that we lost. And so we have still yet to see the best of this team yet. We have yet to see the best of this team, and that's what makes this so scary, is that with getting Ayo Dosunmu back, getting Zach Collins back off the bench, which is then going to cut those Jalen Smith minutes a little bit. Then you get Trey Jones going back to the bench, and a starting lineup that then has the scorer Coby White that's also going to take big shots right along with Josh Giddey, and that, despite what some Bulls fans will have you say, actually does play connected and is a really good passer as well. All those things calculate to this. This team is not done yet. And that is what should be so exciting about Bulls fans, is that we haven't even seen the best of them yet. This isn't even remotely the best version of the Chicago Bulls yet. And then what does that best version look like? How much further can they take their game? Now, we're still 2 weeks away from finding out. Zach Collins is 2 weeks away from a return. The plan is for Coby White to be back in games in 2 weeks. So we'll see that. Ayo Dosunmu still day-to-day. But with the way things stand right now, when the Bulls do get that team and get back fully healthy, this team is going to be scary. Scary. And the thing that we have to start asking ourselves, was AK right? Was AK right in the vision that he had in building this team with 8 to 10 really good players? Now, I'll say this, Coby White's playing, Josh Giddey's playing at a superstar level right now. But so, it's more than just 8 to 10 really good players. You have a player that's playing at an MVP caliber level. But is AK right? And is this season going to go a long way into proving that AK can build a team? He just got locked into that version of the team, and now we're seeing now that he's moved away from that, has more flexibility. He's built a pretty damn good, solid team that is doing the right things. And that's going to be a conversation that we're going to have at some point in time. With that said, the tests are still coming, right? I want to be clear here. The tests don't stop for this team. And the Bulls' next 4 games are going to be hugely telling on who this team's going to be this season. When you look at our next 4 opponents, you got the Milwaukee Bucks that are off to a 5-3 start to start the season. And at a minimum, they look like a really solid playoff team. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best players in the world, on that team as well. And so with them surrounding Giannis with shooters, having center play again, the question is, how are the Bulls going to do that? That's our next opponent, the 5-3 Milwaukee Bucks. After that, the 4-3 Cleveland Cavaliers. And despite, a slow start to the season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it looks like a team that's getting back to looking like the team that everyone expected them to be. They are 4-3 on the season. But when you look at these games, they're really starting to put it together. And also, don't sleep on the Cavs yet, because it could have very well be one of those teams that understand, hey, we just got to pace ourselves. Let's pace ourselves. Let's get everybody back healthy. Darius Garland is just getting back on the court as well, so they haven't even been at 100%. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are still a very dangerous team, and I can't wait to see how that matchup goes against the Chicago Bulls. Next up, the San Antonio Spurs, off to a 5-1 start as of right now on the season, and they have the unicorn and Victor Wembanyama on that team, and they are one of the hottest teams in the game of basketball to start off the season. Now, they did lose to a Phoenix Suns team, which does show when you play connected and as a team, you can beat and have a good game plan, you can beat anybody, right? So the Spurs, another one. And then the Detroit Pistons. Despite the Bulls already having a victory against the Detroit Pistons, they're now 5-2 on the season. They have completely corrected it. They've won 3 in a row as of this recording as well. And they sit there right behind the Philadelphia 76ers and the Chicago Bulls in the standings. And they are also starting to look like the team that people predicted them to be coming into this season. So the next 4 games for this Bulls team are going to be huge. And so the Bulls that right now sit at 6-1 on the season, that's going to be the Bulls' first 12 games. And that's kind of what I pointed to coming into the season, is that first 12 games for this team is going to be hugely telling. And let's see how the Bulls can come out on the other side of that, and if they can actually, continue this winning thing going, man. This is exciting. This is great. And we're going to see, man. We are going to see. But what Chicago Bulls are looking like without Coby White, Zach Collins, and Ayo Dosunmu, imagine what could be coming next for this team. Josh Giddey is hooping on another level right now. Nikola Vucevic continues to be the steady calming factor for this team, and the team as a whole is playing with confidence and toughness that we haven't seen here in Chicago in a very long time. But the tests are not done. The Bucks, Cavs, Spurs, and Pistons are coming up next. They're going to continue to reveal further who this team really are. But as always, let me know what you guys think on everything down below. Make sure you're following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the next one, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. And like always, man, stay safe out there. Go Bulls, see red, and let's keep stacking these wins, man. Love you guys. Go Bulls, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks